I'm really unstable right now. I'm gonna start crying.
Brittany, I can't when you do baby voice. It's the one thing I can't do.
I feel like I can't hold it.
Oh
I
my
can't
God.
hold it.
Can I let him in? Will you
Yeah.
behave?
No.
Oh my God.
I, Jake Johnston, hereby request Josh Ovalle for collaboration with the Internet is Dead podcast. Please, Josh, be a guest on the podcast. We miss you.
Because I just moved and I got really scared that it all somehow broke during my move. But
Right, you just moved to New York, right?
yeah.
Mm.
Yes, Rafa told me about. Didn't he go to
Yeah.
Philly to hang out with you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was talking about his happy ending massages in front of our friend
Yeah.
who I
Oh
was like
my
low key
god.
trying to help him like slay with.
Like, yeah. And he wouldn't stop talking about it. Like, he
And then
talked.
Yeah,
afterwards, she was like, I think he was meant to only ever exist in my iPhone.
yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
But it was a good time. Are you gonna be
was fun.
like him on this episode, do you think?
Um, am I gonna be like him?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Okay. Cool.
Because
We're
you're
kind
your
of
own
like
person.
yes, we're kind of like we're like I don't know how much he's told you about like our story together, but we've known each other forever and we're kind of like fire and ice kind of like we're very different in
Yeah.
a way, but at the same time we're really similar. Um but we balance out each other well. So like the how you just told me how he's telling a friend about the happy ending massages and wouldn't stop talking about it. Like he does
Yeah.
that all the time and yeah, he just like sometimes doesn't know when to stop and yeah.
Kind of
No.
like Brittany and me, though, a little bit.
Yeah, but
Like,
except
where
I'm a
she
girl, so
doesn't,
it's like fine.
yeah, but she doesn't know
Yeah.
when to stop sometimes, and then I balance it out.
Mm,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a tough, tough life.
No, but I appreciate that because I think we have a lot of friends who are kind of like Rafa in that way, where they're like, I don't know, I feel like we're just attracted to people like that. So I'm like, you can do that and I'll appreciate it. Like, that's
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
No,
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I love having friends that it just, like, doesn't matter if they're like, because I hope people give me the benefit of the doubt sometimes. Even if you do something, like, really weird, you're still my friend, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it's fine, like, you're so weird for that, and, like, you're really annoying me, but you're still my friend, you know? I just
Mm.
I love relationships like that so much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Aw.
no, for sure. It's like funny because I was like in my head, I was like trying to put together the pieces, like knowing that you guys were really good friends. Cause I was like, okay, how does this work? Cause I followed you for a while. Obviously, I don't like know much about you just from following you, but like just like the personality, like I was like trying to put the puzzle pieces together about it.
Yeah. Wait, so did he not describe any of it?
He like
Not
explained you've been
really.
friends like since you were really young.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
basically, like it's funny because we met, through we went to rival high schools,
Yeah.
Mm.
um, and we met because we both, like, our high school so back in high school, there was always, like, group pages for it was like event pages for football games and, like, sporting events and stuff, and me and my friends at my high school, we would anytime that there was a group like that, we would troll it, and, and then Rafa would do the same thing with his friends, but we went to rival high school, so then when, like, there was a group for his high school versus my high school, we both started trolling it like our separate groups, and that's how we, like, became we're like,
Oh
"Wait, you
my
guys are doing the
God.
same thing we're doing." So,
That's
like, then we
insane.
became friends like that. It was fun. He was a grade above me, and then, like, once he got into photography and stuff, that's when we started becoming really good friends. Because before that, we just, like, trolled and, like, talked on Facebook and stuff, and then when he got into photography, we started, like, he asked to shoot, like, I think the first time we ever hung out, we, like, went to Georgetown or something,
Mm.
like, he knew about this area, how to get on these rooftops, and so that was, like, our first, like, introduction to, like, actually hanging out,
Mm.
one-on-one, and then we shot together a bunch while I was still in high school, and then just, like, introduced him to my friends, like, in the internet and stuff like that, so, yeah.
Oh,
Aw,
that's really
wait,
sweet.
that's
The fact
sweet.
Yeah.
that it was a troll ship.
Yeah,
Yes,
literally.
yeah, it was,
That's
yeah.
so funny.
That's funny. That's sweet too that it wasn't like, or I didn't know that it wasn't even through the internet. It was literally just through you guys trolling, like from the
Yes,
same
yeah,
high schools or different high
yeah,
schools. But
yeah.
yeah.
Mm. Wait, that's also I was gonna say, when we were hanging out with him, like, we were talking about you a little, and I was, like, having these vivid memories of being a kid on, like, Twitter, and do you remember, like, the choose one threads? Like, where it was like
Yes.
dude, I was remembering how you used to be one of, like, the options of, like, pick your boyfriend, like, what boyfriend do
Yeah.
you want? And I was like, "Oh my god," it's, like, crazy that that's what you, like, hold in my memory, and, like, just that, like, anyone exists as that, like, it's just a
Yeah.
really funny concept.
Yeah, that all that shit and, like, that like, everything I used to be is so interesting to look back on, and I have, like, so many screenshots of, like, old text posts with me that I send to people, like, as a joke, because I don't identify like that at all anymore. Like, I got signed to a modeling agency when I was, like, 15 or something, so that's how, like, my whole entire journey started. Um,
Mm,
I got scouted at the mall or something and then got signed to this agency that was at the time based in Virginia, but he was saying how he's, like, in the midst of, um, combining with a smaller agency in New York, and I was like,
and you're
"Sure,"
from
like
Maryland?
yes, I'm from
Yeah.
Maryland, yeah. It's like the DC suburbs pretty much,
Mhm,
and, uh, and so I signed with him and yeah, and so that eventually, like so I started doing photo shoots and stuff and going to New York a lot, and then there was this one, like, I'll never forget it, like, I woke up one morning and, and I was gaining thousands of followers out of nowhere. It was like, "Oh, whoa, like, this is super random," and I couldn't figure out where it was from because at the time, like, Instagram was and at the time, I didn't have, like, anything s well, Instagram was super bare bones back then, so it was
mhm,
like, you were just getting a lot of notifications, you couldn't really tell where it was coming from because it's not, like, grouped in, like, "Oh, like, you're tagged in this photo," or whatever. It was like, "What is all this coming from?" And then eventually, like, an hour after I woke up, I found the post that was, like it was just some, like account. I don't even remember the account, but they had posted a picture of me. And then I checked my Facebook, and the photographer who shot this one particular photo messaged me. He's like, "Oh, you're going viral on Tumblr." And I was like, "Oh," and I never,
oh my god, I didn't know that this happened.
Me neither.
That's
yeah.
so
I didn't know
So
that
funny.
was like your
I
start.
Yes, like, I started out as a Tumblr a viral image on Tumblr, and I never used Tumblr before then, which is, like, actually super
Mhm,
interesting because a lot of my friends were very like I think in another lifetime or a different timeline, I would have been a Tumblr person. The stars just
yeah.
didn't align. Like, in high school, for me, it was, like for some reason, Twitter was so popular at my high school, like, and I'm so upset because I take breaks from social media a lot because I mean, I don't know, it's just that's something that people do, right? It's like, but
Yeah.
for me, I get like super obsessive, like with Twitter especially. Like, I would get super super obsessive with it. I had two accounts in 2022 to like 2024. I had my main Twitter account, which I had forever since 2012, and then I started like a side account that that I was just tweeting, like, every single thought that came to my head, like, I was so obsessed with it,
Mhm.
and I graduated college, and I deactivated both Twitters for, like I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna take, like, a week." I had just graduated, I'm, like, having a bit of an identity crisis, I can't have Twitter right now. So I deactivated both my accounts, and then, like, for some reason, I blinked and, like, 2 months had gone by, and I'm like, "Oh, shit," or 3 months or whatever the amount of time before your account gets completely, like, wiped off the face of the earth, like, they burn all the data, and, um and that happened to my main Twitter account, which I
Oh
had
my
since, like,
god. I would
2012.
Uh,
freak dude,
that
I
like
Yeah.
almost
almost had that
happened.
happen to
Yeah.
me recently because I, like, added my birthday forgetting that I, like, I always didn't add my birthday for the reason of, like, I did it before I was allowed to be on there, and I
Yeah.
almost got my account deleted, but, they, like, fixed it at this point where that doesn't happen, but
Yeah.
dude, I would lose my mind because I was in the same position as you, like, I was, like, kind of, like, I was aware of Tumblr and, like, would scroll, but I wasn't really a Tumblr kid, I was more of, like, a Twitter girl, and, like, yeah, that would make me, like, kill myself probably.
Yes, yeah, it was I was like I for some reason I have such a problem with like all my shit getting deleted. Like I had a phone like I struggle with like iCloud because I just have so many pictures and I don't want to pay like so much money to have them store like all my shit. And so so I got like a new phone recently after having this one phone for like 3 years, and at the Apple Store, they're like, "Oh, we'll back up everything up," and I'm like, "Alright, so, like, you're totally good to," because I was turning in my phone, I'm like, "You're totally good to just,
Mhm.
like, take this phone and nothing like, all my shit will get onto my new phone?" They're like, "Yeah, yeah, like, it's no problem, just give it time." That did not happen, and all
Oh
my
my
shit
god.
got
This
deleted
is
for,
like
like
No, this
this
is
is
like
yeah,
a
actually my
horror story.
nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
I
I
get
have that of like, because I have so many like screenshots from, because I had like a poetry account when I was like 12 years old on Instagram and just like my old Tumblr and stuff. And I have like so many screenshots of it that are on like my Google Photos back from when I had like this like crappy Samsung phone back when I was in like, when I was like 12, 13 years old. And I'm like so afraid of them all getting deleted somehow.
yeah, I have the worst luck with it, and it sucks too because, like, the years that I had that phone, I had, like, I lived in Austin for, like, 2 months, in the summer after I graduated college, and I lived with, Weston, Kaylin,
Mm.
Nick, Mikaylee Hoover, like, a group of they're like my newer friends, kind of, but like at the time when we lived in Austin, it was such a fun summer, and just all my memories from that are just gone, and it sucks. But the Twitter
Aw.
one, like the Twitter, it's like it sucked, and I wanted to kill myself, but at the same time, I'm just so used to that happening that it's like "Ugh, that sucks." But then like a week later, I've kind of like whatever. But there's so many times like recently
Mm.
where I'm just like, oh, there's something that I really need to find that I know that I tweeted about, but it's gone. I tried so hard to get it back. They're like,
Mm.
yeah, we just wipe all of the data. We can't just like hold on to that forever, no matter like who you are. If you had a big account or anything, it's just like what we do.
We've talked about this a lot of like I feel like this is a very common experience for talking about the internet and like being really like attached to the stuff you experienced like growing up through it because it like teaches you to just like see your life through the like eyes of your like camera roll or like whatever you
Yeah,
have posted. So like yeah, I don't know. That just like reminds me of that and we've talked about it a lot on here specifically because I feel like it's just like a very common experience I'm like noticing for like as a through line for everyone who's like very online. And it's like kind of
yeah.
scary that that's how we just like now are quantifying our lives.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like you think back to well, I mean, it'll be super interesting when we're in like 20, 30 years from now when we're a lot older. It's like I think about like my parents or people like a little bit younger than my parents, like thinking back to their memories of high school. They
Mhm.
only like they don't have much to go through. Like we have everything to go
Yeah.
through. So it's like
Yeah.
it's super easy to just reference certain stories, and like when people ask you about something you could just like reference photos, videos, posts, all of that. um
Dude, our
and
kids will see
and
us with like a dog filter on. Like that's crazy.
it
Like
is.
that's
Like
crazy.
vaping in high school.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, it's like the Twitter, that it sucks, and there I miss it so much. I wish that I could see it, but yeah, like Twitter was so big in my high school, and like
Yeah.
we would it was like the only place that we talked, and like with Twitter group chats and everything. And it was cool because it was like a whole school thing. It wasn't just like a certain group that were just like chronically online with Twitter. It was like everyone for some reason. And yeah,
That's so
somebody asked me
interesting for like a high
recently.
school.
I know. It was
Yeah.
and like I won the superlative in high school for most likely to be on your newsfeed. And it was obviously like
Oh.
mostly part of the fact that like I had a following at that point,
Mhm.
but but also I was just I was tweeting all the time, even before I had a following. It's also kind of good because I had a lot of bad tweets. Like I had to go like obviously once I got followers, I had to delete like a bunch of stuff. Um, but but I still left some things that I refused to delete. Like I remember there was like somebody brought something up to me. They're like, "Oh, uh like, you shouldn't use this word." I think it was like I'm probably not gonna say it because I probably shouldn't say it, but it's like the, uh, the D word, like lesbian, like the
Oh.
derogatory term for lesbians, but I was
Oh.
like, "Am I not allowed to say that because 'cause I'm gay?" And, like, I don't well, I also
I
just,
feel
like,
like you
in
can
my
say that.
circle
Yeah.
yeah, it's like, I think I can, like and especially just with my friends, like, we call each other F words and D words and stuff like that, so it's like, it's whatever, and, like but somebody's like, "Oh, you probably should delete this because it's, like, not that good," and I'm like, like, there's some things that I'll die on the hill of." I'm like, that like, I said that with my whole chest back then, like, I'm fine with keeping it up there,
Yeah.
it's fine, and so and nobody's, like, gotten that like, I haven't really done anything to get people super mad on I mean, yes, I actually have, like, that's not true, I definitely have, but,
It
like
can't be worse than Rafa.
That's
yes,
true.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
but, like, a part of, like, my journey on the internet, like, I started out like, obviously, I've been a like, I love, love, love trolling, and, like, on
Mhm.
Mhm.
Twitter in high school, I was definitely known for being, like, one of the troll people, and, like, one like, oh my god, like, there was this one thing, that happened in high school where it was, like, our hockey team played in the state championship, and during the game, we found the goalie of the other team's Twitter, and we just like we won the states, but we were like, I think I led the rally of like being the hit being like insanely sore winners. Like I was just like rubbing salt in their wounds like for probably like a month after like this happened, like
Wait,
after
that
we
sounds
beat
so
them.
fun though.
That's fun to
It
have like your
was.
whole high school be
Yeah, no,
in
because
on
I was
it.
gonna say, like, also my high school was so not Twitter. Like, I was like a like kind of an outcast for being someone who is chronically on Twitter and like in like fan culture and stuff. So it's interesting that like your high school is the opposite of that.
Yeah, yeah, and I always have to explain that to people because it's like that was not normal. Like every other
Yeah.
high school wasn't really like that. And it was really fun because if like one person said something or did something from another school, like our entire school would like go in on that person on Twitter. So it was like we had this whole like circle
Oh my
of
god. Dude, you had
stuff,
Instagram
but
University. What the hell?
yeah, I know.
Literally.
No, and it's funny because I always tell people like well, so, like, during the pandemic, I started streaming, and I would always explain
Mhm.
people because like, that was, like when I started streaming, that was, like, the first time where I had, like, a place where I could really, like, tell stories because I
Mhm.
never felt, like, comfortable in certain situations on the internet, especially because of, like, the type of person a lot of people viewed me as before. Like, if they just knew me from Instagram, I was just, like, a
Yeah.
much different person to them. But
Mhm.
streaming felt very, like, unique in a sense that, like, I really felt like I could just, like, talk about whatever, but, like, the stories I would tell, like, I would just tell people, like, I seriously went to Euphoria High School, like, people died all the time, like, every year that somebody died, like, either and I mean, it's super s like, it is sad, but, like, there was, like, a lot of suicide like, I think 3 suicides that happened at my school, and then, like, a drunk driving accident that killed, like, 3 people, and then, the drunk driving accident actually like 2 weeks after that happened, our, like, really beloved like, our principal was so cool. He was, like, this old British guy,
Mhm.
and, um, and everyone loved him. He died, like, 2 weeks after that
Oh my
happened.
Oh
Like, there
god.
was
my
just so much
God.
shit going on, like, everyone was on Xanax at one point, like, and, like, just doing the craziest shit, and then, like, it was fucking crazy, and I feel like one thing that's super important about like to explain to people about like who I was as a because a lot of the
Mhm.
like nowadays I've completely like quit everything. I just post on Instagram every now and then. I think
Mhm.
after I
Mhm.
graduated college was the time I always didn't really want to be a person on the internet. So like when the picture of me went viral on Tumblr, I kind of like adapted to that and started
Mhm.
becoming an e-boy in a sense where like I was posting
Mhm.
pictures and stuff, and that led to the friendships that I now have. So
Yeah.
basically, like Dana and I met because uh well, actually, it was like I had met this actress who was on a Disney XD show. Do you guys know what Disney XD is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like really it's I don't even know, like,
Wait, how old are you?
I'm 27.
Okay.
Okay.
We're
We're
How
both
old are you?
24,
24.
so
Okay, so not
yeah.
that
I feel like we
different,
were
but
on, like, the same internet, though, because I feel like I would watch you guys, like, online when I was younger, and I was like, "Oh, they're, like, the few years older than me. They need to be to, like, do things on their own and, like, be really good at this." You know
Yeah.
what I
yeah,
mean?
oh, yeah, I saw you guys did a podcast with Savannah, who
Oh
Yeah.
I've
yeah.
known her for forever, like,
Yeah, no, we
She's
love
so
through
her.
Vine
sweet.
and stuff. Yeah, she's
Mhm.
awesome. She's also from Maryland, and,
Mhm.
we, like, reconnected once because I went to University of Maryland, and
Aw.
she had friends there, and, she, like, messaged me like, "Oh, I'm here," and I was like, "Oh," and
Aw.
so we hung out, but, um,
Aw.
uh So like this, yeah, Disney XD, like I really don't even know what that is. It's like it was like that sub channel of Disney that had like all
Yeah.
the weird shows, but
Yeah.
It was like
this
daytime Disney kinda.
They had
yeah,
like
yeah.
Kicking It with like Olivia Holt, like the blonde
Yes, yeah.
actress. Yeah.
They didn't turn into much. But they like
Okay.
they were in the young Disney circles for a while and were like friends with all the young Disney stars like the like Rowan Blanchard
Mhm.
and like that new wave of Disney people. But she was also actually in an episode of Girl Meets World or like a couple episodes of Girl Meets World. But anyways, like at the time like being verified on Twitter actually meant something. So like when you
Yeah.
know whenever I noticed like a verified person followed me on Twitter, I would always follow them back, and and so we started DMing and we became friends. And then on my birthday or something when I was turning 17 or 18 or maybe I was turning 16. I can't remember. But she posted I was probably turning 16. She posted a picture of me for my birthday and I saw that Dana commented and I had known Dana just through Vine cuz I loved Vine. Like I loved
Mhm.
watching Vine, but I
Mhm.
didn't have a following on it or anything. And and I had known some of Dana's vines and I saw that she commented and I was like, "Oh my god," and she followed me and so I DM'd her. I was like, "Hey," like and so that's basically how our friendship started. And I think after like my birthday is November 7th on like Thanksgiving break from high school. So like literally a few weeks later, the first time I ever met up with someone on the internet was her. I drove from
Aw.
Maryland to she was like going to stay with family in New Jersey and she invited me to go and so like I was like sure and like I just drove up to New Jersey and like spent the night at with her and
Aw.
like hung out with
That's so
her
sweet.
friends
Oh,
there.
Aw.
And
that's
so
really
that
sweet.
was like the first person I met through the internet and also like a lot of people for some reason assume that we're not friends anymore because like we're not all the because when we were like growing up still in college and in high school, especially in college, like we could be together all the time because like
Yeah.
we were students and kind of I was like a half student like I always took like a half course load and like never took it that seriously. Well, actually, I like locked in for my last like 3 years, but before that, I was just doing whatever the fuck I wanted. But
Mhm.
when I became friends with Dana is when I started shifting more into the social media like influencer kind of thing because obviously like Dana had a bunch of friends that I got introduced to and then we started doing content together and so that's when I started kind of straying down the different path because before it was just the
Mhm.
modeling. That was the only thing that was like giving me attention online. But now I was doing Vine and all that stuff. And Vine is like was a whole different beast. Like um getting into that world was very interesting and also like super hard to navigate. Um because I was all like I also made other friends and like a lot of the other friends and circles that I was involved with, like some of them were very, very trying really, really hard to like make it online and like develop a following. So I got kind of
Mhm.
sucked into that and like they figured out like a bunch of cheat codes for algorithms like okay like you post at like 7:59 like 9 minutes before like a certain refresh happens that like because in those 9 minutes, if your post would get like a certain amount of likes or loops or whatever, it would automatically like their algorithm had that video automatically going on to the comedy page, the popular page or whatever page. So I had like a brief time where I was like doing that with people like manipulating algorithm like the algorithm and not really like caring about the type of content I was doing, just doing content
Mhm.
that was made for the algorithm. I had like a few months of doing that with those friends and like focusing on like growing a following and stuff but that got old to me very very quickly and then I kind of just switched back to just being sort of casual and I think that's the thing that was always super unique about Dana and I, is I feel like our content, our life was way more of the content than actually like making content. So like some of the bigger videos that we've made, also first of all, like it's Dana's like the genius of she's unbelievable editor, like really,
Aw.
really talented
Aw.
at all that stuff. And so we would just go live our lives and then like just record passively. And then she would like edit it into like some like unbelievable masterpiece that like was super cool. So it made like what
Mhm.
I do super easy because I was just
Aw.
like
You're just
living
there,
my
yeah.
life. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Aw.
Well, you guys, like I feel like what you were for that time, I try to think about, and I think it's interesting because I feel like there was a certain group on Vine and just like as like creators who were also like super adjacent to fan culture. Like I felt like
Mhm.
you guys were very still like you were like fans along with like everyone else who was like on Stan Twitter in this way, except you were also creators. Cause like that was
yes.
my perspective of you guys. And like Dana also specifically, like I had such like an interesting perspective of because I used to follow her on Fifth Harmony's Stan Twitter, like before she was on Vine. So like I knew who she was before she was a creator, just like from following her. And I like live in Philly, so I'd like see her at shows and stuff. So she was like the big stan of like the Fifth Harmony shows, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, no. Thinking about
No,
that
it's
is so
so
funny.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's
I
but
so
always tell
funny.
people I have to like the people who aren't aware, I'm like, you don't realize like how many really famous people like started as One
yeah.
Direction and Fifth
Yeah.
Harmony fan accounts, like,
Mhm.
and I was introduced to that world like when I became friends with Dana, and so like just yeah, like almost everyone that I was friends with was like either in One Direction or Fifth Harmony, Stan Twitter, and I love Stan Twitter, like the big
Yeah.
like the big accounts, like the people that are like post Stan Twitter, but like still kind of like have a following on Twitter, like they are the funniest fucking people ever. Like there's this
Mhm.
like I don't know if you do you guys know Pierre Spears?
I don't
I
think
don't know.
so.
I like am
He's
not
just
as
like
on Twitter anymore.
Yeah.
yeah, like um he is just like the funniest like oh my god, there's this is so bad, but like it's still so funny. He has this one like on the elect like after Biden beat Trump in the election, like everyone was super euphoric on Twitter and just like posting the most like crazy
Yeah.
shit like oh my god, like we won, like whatever. Everyone was so euphoric. He like he took that a little bit too far and he was like he's like yes, I know Trump is mad as fuck punching Melania and shit. And like I have a screenshot that's
Yeah.
like that post like deleted tweet. I'm like I always just like randomly like look at it in like my favorite folder and like send it to Dana because it's like one of our favorite tweets of all time because we were
That's such a good
together
one,
on
yeah.
that day and it was just like a crazy euphoric day where we were just like like on Twitter and just like and when she was at my house in Maryland we drove into DC and like it was just such a cool day but
No, we had, like,
We have
literally the
like a
same thing
really,
with that day, but, like,
yeah.
in Philly, that's, like, literally how we made all of our college friends was, like, us all, like, being in the
so
same
wait, did
place
you
that
guys go to
day.
college together?
Yeah.
Yeah, in Philly. We went to
Mhm.
What
Temple.
okay. Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
Dana went there too.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
she's a few years older, so I don't think we were
Yeah.
there at the same or she
Yeah.
might have been, like, a senior while I was a freshman or something like that, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's such a funny thing about Temple, like,
Oh my god.
while she
Yeah.
was going there, I I don't know if I could find the picture right
Wait,
now,
did you
but
used to go there? Because I feel like I remember seeing, like, you post it or something, but I don't know. Am I crazy?
I would just go there to, like,
Okay.
visit
To
her.
visit.
I wasn't a student there, but, there was this one time where I went to visit her and, I wanted to be able to just, like, freely go into all the buildings and stuff, and so,
Wait, yeah,
while
I'm
we
thinking of,
were
like, an ID post or something like that.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
Oh my
that
Wait,
I
that's
didn't
so
God.
know
weird
if
that
I'd
I
ever
remember
shared that.
that. That's so weird. I feel like I have,
Um,
like, such odd things just ingrained because that's I
no,
don't
I
even,
love that,
like
yeah. 'Cause I have the same thing about so many people where I just remember, like, one little thing that they did, and I'm like,
yeah.
Aw.
I still remember it today, but, I don't know if I probably won't be able to find it, but, um, we were Ubering from the train station to from her house in the suburbs, we, like, took the train in, and, while we were Ubering, she was editing an ID like, a fake Temple ID, and she used, like, all the words that were in her name and mixed it up, so my name on the Temple ID is Rico, R-I-C-O, Nida, N-I-D-A, and like no one questioned it. I just like showed it whenever I went into the
That's so
buildings while
funny.
I
That's
was there. So I
Dude,
had
awesome.
a
it's so funny
fake
that you just
temple
have,
ID.
like, a, like, random experience of, like, going to temple too, because that was just, like, our
Yeah.
lives.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Yeah.
fun. I also went to random temple parties like a few times.
Oh, really?
That
Yeah.
can't have been good.
Temple parties are, like they're fun. I mean, we had a great time, like, our time here was
Yeah.
really, like, so much fun, but
I
I
yeah.
feel like
love Philly.
after yeah, no, Philly, I feel like after we made our, like, friend group on that day that Biden won, it was, like, really, really fun.
Yeah,
That day was a
Yeah.
thing for people, but I
it
was
Yeah.
was.
also I was gonna say something about, what you said about the, like, stand to, like, then being kind of like a personal like, I feel like a lot of the, like, does that make sense? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, yeah, like a stan account to like a
Yeah,
personal account and still having
yeah.
like a
Yeah.
following.
Like, I feel like the comedy from like, I really think that most of the comedy we have now and just, like, what has become the internet, it all started on Stan Twitter. Like, that is what
Yes,
I
it
think.
Yeah.
100%. It's the foundation for everything,
Yeah.
and it's also very interesting to be in the place where I'm at right now, kind of observing, the people, because I mean, there's a lot of TikTokers right now who watched us when, like, me and my friends, when they were growing up, so, like, a lot of the
Mhm.
famous TikTokers, like, know who we are, um, and, and it's just it's super interesting to just like see the path everything takes, and you just see that how the things develop, and it all just roots back to Stan Twitter being the thing, because it was like Stan Twitter to Vine to then like TikTok, and like
Yeah.
that pipeline is just very defined, and you could just like tell how everything has stemmed from there.
Mhm.
um but yeah, it's so like I think about all the time, like just the way that certain TikTokers are developing. It's also just like we're in such a different world now. TikTok is there's so many famous TikTokers. There's just so many, and like and sometimes it like I get how Vine was very like some of the humor was so fucking stupid, but some of it was really fucking funny. Like some of
Yeah.
it was
No, it
Especially
fucking
for the
was.
hilarious.
time. Like, it was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
Especially when it was happening.
if you look at like the bait, like if you look at the really really big TikTok accounts that are like that are for the mass, like that for the masses, like that are really like the dumb humor kind of like TikTok that like millennials watch and stuff like that. Like yeah, that type of TikTok, or what was I like? Oh, you can compare that to like the big TikToker. I mean, the big Viners like King Batch and like uh all those types of people. Like if you watch those TikToks, like, yeah, they're stupid as fuck. They're not funny at all. But like, if you followed like the actual funny people and like were like all that shit was hilarious.
Mhm.
But yeah, if you look at like if you look up like Vine compilation and watch that, like 99% of it isn't fucking funny. It's stupid. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you
You had to be, like, tapped in, I feel like, into,
yes,
like, a
you had to have been
specific
tapped in.
yeah.
Um, but Vine was fucking funny,
Captain.
Mhm.
and
Sorry.
no, it's okay. Um, and Vine was it was hard. You have to think about like you have to convey so much in 7 seconds, and like and if you can do that and still be funny like that. So what I'm trying to say is like a lot of really really funny people came from Vine, because like
Yeah.
you had to be super creative about how you told your story or how you
Mhm.
told your joke or whatever. And I'm thinking very specifically of people like Josh and Lucas and people like that, because like they're super super creative and hilarious, and they were
Dude.
kind
Yeah.
yeah
They're like they were
they're
the
Yeah.
smartest people alive to me when I was younger.
yeah
Yeah.
Yeah.
like I still like I remember recently I was like, because I've never met Josh in real life, but I've met Lucas. But we've like been mutuals for such a long time,
Mm.
um and I had known, like I had watched their vines back in the day, but I think very recently I was just like I don't even really remember like a lot of like, I don't really remember many of their specific vines, and I like went back and looked at some of them. I'm like, Jesus Christ, like it is crazy that like they were able to come up with some of this stuff at such a young age, and like
Yeah.
Yeah.
um yeah, they're super cool, and it's like
Well,
people like that are the
oh,
reason
it's
why I still hold
chat.
Vine on such a high pedestal. Like a lot of really cool people came out of it, not just like the fucking stupid King Batch people and
Yeah.
the Paul brothers and stuff like that.
Well, I
Yeah.
I think with Vine, like I remember being a kid and like that popping up and just being an app and people being obsessed with it. And I feel like the reason that it was like this like even a possibility to make humor in that little amount of time was because like there it's not like TikTok existed. Like there wasn't like a longer form version of that. There was YouTube and then there was Vine. So it was like I don't know,
It was
it
like
just
the
felt
Yeah,
only
normal
short
somehow,
form.
you know?
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know if this is actually, this could be complete common knowledge, but maybe it's not. Basically, one of the reasons why, and I love this, it makes Vine even cooler, is one of the reasons why they had to shut down is because all of the big creators, like the people I was talking about, like the Paul brothers, like those people, like all were going to Vine and saying like, oh, like you need to give us a way to monetize our content
Yeah.
outside of
Mhm.
ads. And so and Vine was just like, no, like we don't want to do that. And so they had to shut down because everyone start like all the big creators started going to other places where it was easier to make money. Um,
Ugh.
and I also, one of the all the coolest thing was the community managers and a lot of people working at Vine also recognized us and like the smaller creators on the platform who were actually, I'm not calling myself actually funny, I'm calling the people I was friends with actually funny. Like they were recognizing people like Dana, Savannah,
Mm.
Sydney. Sydney's another Sydney. Okay, like she
Yeah,
was
no,
huge
I
Yeah.
loved her
on
too.
1D Twitter and like crazy. Like
Yeah.
those three, like Vine, like really recognized those people. And also another cool thing about Vine is like y- all of, there weren't, since there weren't so many big accounts, it was just like easier for I don't know, just it just made cooler people because like only like a
Yeah.
select amount of people like really grew like big followings. Um and so Vine like real like Vine, like the people who worked at Vine were super cool. And I had gone to the Vine headquarters like 3 or 4 times, and it was in like the Twitter, it was just on a floor of the Twitter headquarters. So obviously the Twitter headquarters was like so massive, and a really cool building in New York. Um and we would go there and they would just like ask us questions, they'd let us hang out. And they even
Oh,
had
well,
like
that's so cool.
yeah, they had like a panel one time. I wasn't invited, like where I think it might have been MTV executives or people who worked at MTV like wanted to talk to some creators, and they
Mhm.
picked Dana as to be one of those people that they like interviewed. And and so I got to sit in on that, which was really cool. I think it was actually, I don't know if you guys remember Parker Kit Hill.
It sounds
If you
familiar.
looked him up, you'd probably recognize him.
Yeah.
But that like him and Dana were two of the people that they picked. So and I was with Dana at the time,
Oh,
so we just
yeah, I
went.
know.
Yeah. Um, and so yeah, Vine just like actually so many good memories, like really good people, cool people working there. I'm still mutuals with some of the community managers that
Oh.
work there, and they went on to like have super cool careers.
Mhm.
Oh, it's just like, it's, social media is just so big now, there's so many different places where you could do your thing. And before, it felt like it was very streamlined, and it was an easier path to take, but also like an uncertain one. Like you never really could. And that's probably a reason why I strayed further away from it. I also like I really did want to go to college and get a degree, um, because it felt like a discipline thing for me. Like I love testing my discipline and seeing how far I could take things.
What did you get your degree in? I'm curious.
Communications.
Okay. Nice.
What did you guys study?
We
We
both
both
did like computer science.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But, like, it's
Like,
Yeah.
not what I, like, hate it.
Yeah.
Samira's good at it. I, like, don't like it and have ended up doing, like, journalism instead.
Yeah. I have like my like 9 to 5 is like computer science stuff.
what type of, I'm really curious what you do. Like, are you like a coder? Like, do you code and
Yeah, I
stuff
do
like
like
that?
data engineering.
Okay,
So it's
cool.
like, yeah, kind of. It's yeah, but it's remote, which is why I just like moved to New York.
Yeah. I love remote work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so
It's
nice.
awesome. Hers is
Yeah.
also, yeah, Brittany's
Yeah,
is
I'm
remote
also
too.
fully remote because I just do have like I just have a digital marketing 9 to 5 that like is just my 9 to 5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so nice.
Wait, so are you
Um,
working in communications now, or do
I
you?
was,
Mhm.
again, I don't know if Rafa told you this, but we actually just finished a job that we worked together.
Oh, wait,
Um,
were you doing crypto with Rafa?
yeah, well,
Oh!
I got thrown into
Oh,
it. He basically like he was into crypto, and I was the one being like, dude, this is so stupid. Like I was telling him, he's like, I'm like, you're ruining your life, dude. Like, because he was staying
Yeah.
up all night and just like doing these, I'm like, dude, like this is so stupid. Don't do it. Like you have to just like stop doing this. And then he came to me and he was like, oh, like this founder of a startup is looking to hire like a marketing team, and I recommended you for the job. Would you be interested? And I'm like, sure. Like I don't have a job right now, and I'm down to I like down to see what it's all about. So like I met with her and like, but basically like so I had to learn a lot about crypto, and I knew nothing about it, and was a hater before. And then I'm like, all right, if I'm gonna do this job, I have to learn about it. So add me to your crypto group chats, and I'll start like slowly. I'll start like just like dabbling in it just so I could get a
Yeah.
better just for work. Like I was like, I need to
yeah.
research and like figure this out. And and so I started doing that, and yeah, so the crypto journey is super interesting because I had quit streaming to like uh, and so while I was streaming, I also got like a newer audience of young. I also one of the reasons why I quit everything is because I feel like I'm when I was streaming, I kind of decided that like I'm not the like I'm actually like not really a good person and like don't really deserve to like to I don't think people should like listen to me about things that I like have views on. And I'm like I also just didn't feel responsible like for an audience, especially with streaming, because you do, while it was really cool and I got to like talk really transparently about things, you
Mhm.
really are like babysitting a community in a sense. Like
Did you
um
feel like your
Wait.
audience translated, like, pretty well? Like, did you have, like, a
So,
good
yes,
audience watching?
yeah, not many people actually ask me that question, and I think that's one of the most interesting parts of it is because I promoted it, like, only a couple times on my Twitter and Instagram, and, like, a handful of people had never used Twitch before, but, started like watching Twitch and becoming involved
Mm,
in all of the spaces through me. And it was people who had been following me for forever. And
yeah.
like I recognize them because of how like involved they've always been through it. Like it's I I don't know if other creators have talked about this, but um you notice the people who are consistently like in your replies and being funny and
Yeah.
talking about you.
Mhm.
They'll like they'll they it, no matter how big they are, they see the people like who are consistently like throughout their life, especially for someone who's grown up on the internet.
Yeah.
So it's like there's people that I'm just like, oh my, like yeah, this person like they've been following me for probably a decade now, and like
Aw.
um
It's crazy they
and
just, like,
so
are, like, there watching you, like, forever. Like, that's crazy. That's a really interesting
yeah.
experience, especially,
Yeah.
like I am also curious, and this is kind of like a tangent, so you can, like, address it after, but I'm curious how, like, that formulated from when you were young too of, like, how did you handle that? Like, and being in high school and, like, high school having Twitter be important, and then people at your high school witnessing that, like, was that a weird thing? Like
It was a really weird thing, and I did get, since I was very crazy, trolly, vocal on Twitter, um, I was still like that even when I started gaining a following and modeling and stuff. So
mhm,
that led to a lot of like really, really insane like bullying. It never really affected me that much just because I mean, no, it did. Like it did, but not to a point that I was it was like a problem. Like it was just weird because like for some reason, like having a, I mean, I'm gay and like I was gay, but I wasn't out of the closet at the time. I was like 16 or something and still in high school.
mhm.
And, um, and so, but for some reason, it always like if you're doing anything different, it always translates to like, oh, you're gay, like you're
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And so and it's like even like the straightest people, it's like they just get called gay if they're doing anything like relatively different
I wonder
on
if
the
that's still
internet.
what the like baseline of that is for like kids in school now. If it's still like you're gay.
Yeah,
That's
well, actually,
interesting. Yeah.
so random. Like, okay, wait, let me. I'll get to that in a second, but
Okay.
um,
Yeah, I feel like I
uh,
just layered like three different little
Yeah.
like
I know,
things. So
and
you
it's
can
such a
you
problem.
got
Like, my mind goes all over the place so quickly. I have
yeah.
such a
Yeah.
hard time structuring everything, but yeah. So I remember the peak of it. Like, was there was a hockey game. Hockey was also really big. Okay, well, I think because we were really good at hockey and we sucked at all the other sports, so like everyone went to the hockey games and we were playing our rival school and it was a really really big game and like the entire student section of the other thing they were doing chants about me for at like the entire
What?
thing.
Oh
They're like
my
Jake Johnson
God.
sucks dick and like Jake Johnson's a faggot, like all of that shit. Like and like I was just like, damn, that's crazy. And like and like but I had okay, so
And
the
like
thing
that's
was like
because of the internet pretty much. Like
yes, yeah,
yeah, that's
because I
That's
was
insane.
there was
insane.
modeling pictures of me that were viral,
Yeah.
like that was the reason they were saying that. And
Oh my
and
god,
I
it's
got
so like
followed to my
2014
car. Like
school.
people
Like
followed me to my car like and circled the car and were like, so like get out of the car, like we're gonna beat your ass. And I was just like, I was like this
Oh
is
my.
crazy, but it never affected me that much because like I still had I had a really really solid circle of friends in high school
mhm.
who were like
Yeah.
right, like I have this one friend that's like I literally haven't seen him since high school, but like he still texts. He's like like a completely straight guy, but a really cool straight guy, like just super super cool. Like it never like after I like came out and all that stuff, like it could bother him less. Like he doesn't give a
Mhm.
fuck. Like and still texts me on my birthday like all the time and he's still like one of the only people from high school I still think about. But he was leaving with me in the car and um like one of the things the guy said to me, like step out of the car, like I'm gonna like there was just one guy who was pressing and everyone else was surrounding the car and he's like just step out the car and like I'm gonna swing on you or whatever. And my friend is just if he's he's like how about I step out of the car and suck your dick, like I want to suck your like. And so we were like he was like my friend was like barking at him by like trolling and being like,
Wait, I
you
love
guys said
that.
he
That's
Yeah.
sucks dick, so can
awesome.
we get out of the car and suck your dick? And like and so like that's why it never became like really bad for me, is
Yeah.
because I had friends
Yeah.
like that who were like still like fighting back in that way. They weren't like distancing themselves because I was getting called a faggot by
No, that's
everyone
really
and all
nice
of that
too.
That's
Like,
stuff.
I'm
sweet.
glad you had
So
that.
Yeah.
yes,
I'm
yeah,
glad
I
you
don't
had a
know
friend to be
what.
like, no, we're gonna fucking suck your dick then.
Yeah, it's like yeah, he's like we are gonna suck your dick, like if you guys like want that or whatever. Um but yeah, okay, so all the other thing that like
Yeah.
went off in my head, like there was this one time I was probably 19. So I was in college and it was summer. But you know when you're like 19 or 18 and you're like it was I was probably a freshman in college, so like
Mhm.
you're still kind of a kid. Like you still
Yeah.
like are connected with people a little bit younger, but you're in this weird place where you're also a step above like seniors and juniors in high school and stuff, but you're still in the age range with them or whatever. And I was Dana and I were in New Jersey and we had gone to like a little like my cousin. I have a bunch of cousins that live in New Jersey. My cousin invited. It's like, oh, like one of my friends is having a graduation party if you want to come. Dana and I went to it, had drinks there, and then my sisters picked us up and we were super drunk. We're like, oh, let's go to Wawa. And we went to this one like really popular like this Wawa where like all the kids like rode their bikes to at night and like hung out at. And and so
This is so like New Jersey, like PA
Yeah.
yes, yeah,
suburb pilled.
yeah. Which that's my life. I love
Yeah.
all of that shit so much. But Dana and I, since we're still like 18, 19 years old, but we're also drunk, we were fucking with all these kids, and I was really, really drunk. And like like I think I like went up, there was like this basketball court next to it where a bunch of kids were on their bike, and I went up to this one kid and I was just like, what if I like I don't know if this was even like in it was so funny to me in mind. I'm like, I'm gonna go up to this kid and like see what he'll do if I just like say I'm gonna steal his bike. I'm like, I'm gonna steal your bike, and he's like, no, you're not. And I was wearing a cowboy hat at the time, and like when I walked away, I heard one of them saying like, oh, yeah, there's this faggot and a cowboy hat, like, and so then when I heard that, I was screaming at like it didn't actually offend me. I just thought it was funny, like that I was wearing a cowboy hat and like people were talking about that, and I was like drunk, so I was just like, oh, like do you want to fight me? And like I was like yelling at everyone. I'm like, who wants to fight the faggot in the cowboy hat? Look at me, like just like yelling that to a massive group of like 15, 16, 17-year-old kids, like being like who wants to step up and fight the faggot? This is the faggot in the cowboy hat. And then somebody like all of them were surrounding me, and one of them's like, dude, like no one actually cares, like no one cares that you're gay, dude, like we're not gonna fight you because you're gay. And I'm like, what the hell happened to the world? Like, why aren't you
Why
guys doing
not?
that?
Like,
I was like,
why not?
wait, what? And they're like, have you seen 13 Reasons Why? And like at the time,
Oh
13
my
Reasons Why was
God.
popular. So
Help me, that's so funny.
I was like,
This
wow,
world has
that's
gone to hell.
crazy. I
We
know. I
actually
was
know
like,
better than to do that crap.
exactly.
No,
I was like, that is crazy. So maybe they don't do that anymore.
that's what I
Yeah,
was
Like,
that's
thinking
so
about while you were
it's like,
talking. Because I'm like, even with like the modeling pictures, I'm like, I feel like every single person now in high school or middle school is like posting on TikTok or like
yeah, it's
modeling
like
or
so
yes,
doing
normal.
something. And
Yeah.
so,
yeah,
and like everyone's like gay or like something. So it's
yeah.
like, and it's like the world's gone to hell.
Yeah, it has. It really has, like in many different ways. And
Why is
yeah,
everyone
it,
fucking gay now? Like, go
everyone's
back.
gay, everyone's
Literally.
non-binary, everyone's posting
Ugh.
on social media. It's
Everyone was
like,
on fucking Stan Twitter, like, oh, tell me what fan account you had. Oh, I wonder what fan account
yeah,
you had.
Everyone was on
it's messed
Wattpad.
up.
It's
No, but
fucked
that's
Yeah.
up.
like, I was gonna ask you, how do you feel like that like kind of behavior has translated to how you act now in terms of like being like, I don't know, because I feel like to me, as soon as you said that, I'm like, oh, this is because you were online, like you were acting like this and like
Hmm.
being funny in that very specific way. Like, do you feel like that comes through still when you're socializing?
Yes. It's well, back to what I said about like how the reason why Dana and I worked really well is because our content was kind of our life. Like it didn't really feel like there was a big separation between who I was before and who I was after. It made it like a
Hmm.
little bit different because of the way that I filter myself and the way that I talk about certain things. But but yeah, it's like it really is. I have a really hard time socializing. Well, actually, it's interesting. I have a really, really hard time socializing with anyone who wasn't terminally online. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
it's very, very hard. Like, I don't know what to talk about, especially meeting new people. I don't really like to talk about like when somebody's like, "Holy shit! Like, why do you have like all these followers?" And I'm like, I just don't really want to talk. Like, I don't want to talk about it. Like, it's I've like thought so many times about just like starting a new Instagram, especially after I quit Everett. Like I quit after I deactivated my Twitter and accidentally got it deleted and stopped streaming and all that. I was just like, I might as well just like make a new Instagram and just like build it socially like that. Um, but I still like I don't know. I think Instagram is fun still, and I have so many connections on there that are just like I don't want to like sever those yet. And
Mhm.
but it's really it's hard, like especially like post everything I did, like trying to carve out a new life for myself is it it's weird. But I would say still like my direct friend group is all still people from the internet.
Yeah.
Like I people always wonder like, oh, are you and Dana still friends? Like, yes. Like you, especially with Dana specifically, like we've crossed a point in our friendship that like can never like you can't not undo anything that we've done
Well,
together.
having
And like,
become
Aw.
like internet friends at that young of an age, like, yeah, you're like best friends probably forever
yeah,
in a
and
way,
Yeah.
forever.
it's like there's part of me that like while I was already like 16 years old when I met her and like I had done most of my growing up, it's like no, like I had still so much growing up to do, especially since everything before her I was like closeted, like and so like she was also a big introduction to like LGBTQ
Mm.
like people
Aw.
because like I really didn't have any gay friends or anything like that. So she introduced me to that whole world, and so it was like, yeah, I was like, part of me was still growing up with her, and and yeah, and so, like, Dana and I still really, really good friends. She has a full-time job and she works, and she has different new friends too that, like,
Mm.
that, that I and people also, you have to understand, like, I don't know why people don't look in at themselves and see, like, yeah, like, when you grow up, like, some of you're doing different things than some of your friends. Like, it's not like I'm
Yeah.
not,
Yeah, it's
like,
funny the
looking at you
perception.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
look at your profile and be like, "Oh, you posted a picture with this girl in 2016, like, where is she in your recent post?" Like,
Yeah.
it's like but it makes sense because we're, like, people obviously, like, know us because of our friendship, but,
Mm.
but yeah, it's like, her I don't know if you guys know Just Jamie, if you guys remember him at all?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
name sounds
They were on
familiar.
Vine, right?
Yes, yeah, he
Yeah.
was a Viner, and, he, her him, Dana, and I have a group, a three-person group chat that we talk in every single day for years,
Aw.
and so, but I also have my new friends like Weston, Kaylin,
Mm.
Hoover, Nick, McKiley. We like I which I really Weston and Kaylin specifically, out of everyone I've met on the internet, since I've never really been like I'm not known for my creations really. I'm more known as like a personality, and especially since like Dana's bigger videos that a lot of people like know us from is I'm mostly just a character in it. She's the one that's like actually creating all the things that we did into
Mhm.
something super cool. Um it puts me in like a different kind of like limbo space of like I'm kind of between the 2 of just being like a person. So through that, I've just met a vast amount of like different people, and how they view their audience and how they view being a creator and stuff. Weston and Kaylin are probably like I probably respect them. I respect a lot of people, but like I respect them a lot. Probably the most out of everyone I
Aw.
know of how they treat the way that they operate on the internet,
Mm.
and they've created a very, very sustainable thing that works for them, and and live like really fulfilling lives outside of the internet, and don't v- don't view themselves as they pretty much view what they're doing as a job, and a lot of people don't do that when they're creators.
Mm.
They're kind of doing it for other reasons, or doing it for attention, or doing it for X, Y, and Z. But Kaylin and Weston are really like they're very smart. They're really smart
Mm.
people, and doing it in a authentic business way. Like they're not just doing it for the
Yeah.
money. That's not what I'm trying to
Yeah.
like
So,
Yeah.
say.
like,
They're
they
just like
like it, but they, like, know how to
yeah,
perform
But
they
they're,
afterwards.
love
like,
it. Like
committed and
but
yeah.
they're
Yeah.
but I think a large I mean, you can't like, you can't act like, anyone's just doing it because they love it. You like,
Yeah.
everyone
Yeah.
like, that's their job, like,
Mm.
and they treat it like one in a good way. Like, they when I was living with them in Texas, like, I got to see it, like, firsthand. They would meet at, like, 10 AM, film their videos, and then, like, they had everything planned out, schedules and all of this stuff, and it was just, like, very it was also inspiring to see just because a lot of people don't do it like that. They're just, like, posting
Yeah.
when they feel like it, or forcing stuff out in
Yeah.
a different kind of way, um, but yeah, and when I became friends with them, I feel like I've reached kind of like the end game with my internet where, like, I have all the friends that I've made through this, and like,
Mm.
and I'm happy with it. I have that group of friends where we still like plan things, and Weston and Kaylin live in New York, and I get to go see them, and and stuff like that. So it's great. But then like while Rafa and I, there's so many like stories that we've like kind of half finished and went on a tangent. But when Rafa and I started working together, and doing the crypto stuff, I had moved back in with my dad,
Mm.
and was living with him for a while, and then I
Are you, like,
couldn't live
living
with
alone right
him.
now?
Yeah,
Or okay.
so I
And you're in
moved.
Maryland still? Or
Yes, yeah.
okay.
So that's where I was going with that. It's like I moved out of my dad's house and into an apartment like 15 minutes away from where my dad's house was, just because it most people are like, "Oh, it's so great to like save money. Like it's not that bad to live with your parents." Like I couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah,
Like
no,
my
It's
it's
dad,
bad.
like if you know my dad, like he's just like a very quirky guy. Like I love him to death, but he's very like quirky and ADHD, and like will anytime I'm like like if I'm leaving the house, he asks me where I'm going or what I'm doing, not because he needs to know, just because he's like, oh, like what are you going? What are you doing? Like you want like
aw.
and just wants to ask me questions. I'm like, I just like I'm going to fucking 7-Eleven to my friend's house, and I don't want to
Yeah.
talk to you about vaping because like it's just awkward to talk about. But like
Mhm.
and like it so I yeah, I just got to a point where I'm like I need to move out. So I moved to an apartment 15 minutes away, but like and now like I was like, oh, this is like like I was taking the Amtrak into New York every so often. I was going like once a month for a while, just like and especially Rafa like just went to New York too now, and now I'm like I
Yeah.
literally
Dude, go
have
to New
no one
York.
here.
Come
We're
to
I
going
know
to
I'm
New
like
York. Go to New
New
I
York.
know it's like I actually did live in New York for a little bit.
Yeah.
I went to Hofstra University for
Okay.
1 semester. That's when I probably did the most modeling stuff, and felt the most like I was going to pretty like I went to like well, first of all, I was never supposed to be a runway model, but again, the agencies are super stupid and sent me to a coach, like a coach runway, like the coach fall 2017, fall winter fall 2017 casting, and and I get I'm in way over my head, like get to the coach headquarters, go into their casting room. It's the nicest thing I've ever seen in my life. Um, and they're like, um, I get into this room, massive room, two people standing at a table in front of me, and they're like, "Okay, do your walk for us." And I'm like what? I've never learned how to fucking walk. Like, I didn't know what I was. I don't like. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, like you don't walk, and I'm like, no, I've never done that, and no one's ever taught me how to walk,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I'll try and like walk. Obviously, didn't get that job, and but
Wait,
yeah, I was
how
going
old
to
were you when that happened?
18 or
Okay.
yeah, I was 18.
Oh.
But when I dropped out of I was like, oh, like I'm going to all these cool castings now. And like, since I'm in New York, I can go to so many more castings. So I bet I can make a lot of money. And so I was like, yeah, I'm dropping out of college and moving into New York, moved into New York, in somebody's extra bedroom in the shittiest building in the worst neighborhood. Like,
Where were you
and
living?
Two
Ooh.
Bridges.
Oh, Two Bridges now is like lit.
It is really.
Yeah.
Where's Two
Like Two Bridges
Bridges?
is like that spot in Chinatown that's like, right? Like it's the
Yeah.
Lower East Side spot that's like Times
Oh,
Square. Yeah.
Yeah, it's well, the building I lived in was right on the water, and it was at the top. Like if you walk, it was right next to one of the bridges, next to Alphabet City, kind of. Um,
See, I don't
and
know like near the water, but I just know like
yes,
the
on the water, there's a few buildings, and then across the street from the buildings is housing projects and like uh, government housing, and so like again like nothing wrong with that, but it wasn't the place. Like I was living in like housing projects essentially, and like it was rougher and not the place for an 18-year-old who's never like
yeah.
experienced that
yeah.
life to live.
Yeah.
um
Like you
and
hadn't lived in a city before that.
no,
Okay,
I
yeah,
grew
that
up in
makes a lot of
suburbs,
sense. Yeah.
like in nice neighborhoods and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But so it was a huge wake up call, and I think my parents
Yeah.
like were kind of happy I did that, because like it was a massive wake up call. I dropped out of college and was like, yeah, I'm moving to New York, moved to a really like a rough
Wait, and
area,
this was for
and
modeling, right?
yes, like just for modeling, and then I started like just going to castings, not getting jobs, not getting paid for anything, and giving like photographers benefit of the doubt when they were like, "Oh, like let's shoot," but they weren't paying me anything, and
Yeah.
realized I was just getting used for a lot of things. And I had a good group of friends in New York,
Mm,
and would hang out with them, but they were all NYU students, and so they were students, and I was doing
yeah.
nothing besides just going to a few castings a week, and then I just like moved home after half a year maybe or something.
The photo that went viral of you, was that like before or after you started modeling, or was that like why you started modeling?
It was a photo that was it was while I was modeling.
Okay,
So
okay.
yeah, I was like, because essentially like after you get signed, you have to build up like some sort of portfolio of just like you want to shoot with anyone. You don't pay anyone for photo shoots. Maybe like the first time you ever do a photo shoot,
Mhm.
you go to some sleazy like guy who's like charging you to take pictures. Um,
Yeah.
but but they just like take you. You just go to any person who wants to shoot with you, so you have a bunch of pictures and just one of them. Which actually, in retrospect, is fucked up because I think the person who was shooting me for that day took a few pictures of me with sunglasses on that were for his brand and like were on his website.
Okay,
So I'm like,
yeah.
I should have gotten paid
Uh,
for that maybe,
yeah.
but but I got a viral moment out of it.
Then, like, moving to New York and, like, living there for a little bit to do the modeling stuff, like, I'm curious, and I wanted to ask about this just, like, as a general thing, like, how modeling affected your psyche and just, like, self-image and stuff, because I know you've posted before about, like, overcoming an eating disorder. I don't know if you feel like talking about that or not.
No, I'm
Um,
like totally like anything is fair game to me. It's
okay, cool.
I yeah, no, it's cool. Like um yeah, it affects you a lot, like, especially like, I mean, so my eating disorder was always rooted in I have pretty bad OCD, and,
Mm.
it
Dude,
was
same, same as
so
mine.
my eating disorder was rooted in that, it just like, relatively picky eating and just like fear of contamination and stuff like that. Your job is people taking photos of you, and the way you look is like is your brand or whatever, and like, um, it messed with me a lot. Like there was part of me where people were called because also it's the other difficult thing about being a man is you're kind of viewed as well, people want to view you as being bigger. So when you're super skinny as a guy, it's this confusing thing of like, well, it was for me specifically, it was confusing because there were people yelling in my ear saying like, dude, like you're so skinny, like like it's you're so skinny, it's gross. Like people saying like you're really skinny, it's gross, and like uh, them saying that probably didn't seem like a bad thing to say, like because oh you're a guy, like bulk up a little. It's like
There was
it's
also,
not
like,
that
really
hard.
bad, I think, like, awareness around, like, what was good or, like, right to say at the time. Because I feel like at the time it was like, if you're saying someone's skinny, it's, like, not bad, but it is, like, actually really harmful.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, it is, and there's a lot of people who are super, um, I don't know. I've seen sides of like Twitter and people on ED Twitter, which I wasn't a member of or anything like that. But I've done my fair share of like investigating it, especially when I was like deep in my eating disorder because I was like just conflicted and wanted to like see what other people would say about certain things. And
Mhm.
so there's some people who are very like, "Oh, it doesn't matter," like, "Oh, if you're getting called too skinny, like, consider yourself lucky," but I'm like, I don't know, it was just, like, different for me, and so, so it was when I was saying, like, the one person was yelling in my ear saying, "You're too skinny, it's gross." The other side is like, "Oh, like, you look so good," and, like, I'm supposed to look like this because I'm getting followers from looking like this, and, like,
Mm.
I'm a model, like, I guess it's a good thing, and things the domino effect just started happening, like, things just started, uh, spiraling and, like OCD got worse, like body image got worse. Like I was scared of gaining weight, but also just like had no idea what gaining weight would even look like for me. Like I just like it felt like an impossible dream and like something I didn't really need to bother. So need to bother like trying to fix because again like I was only getting positive feedback like from my body mostly good like when I mean I meant like only good things were really happening to me
Yeah.
from being skinny and not eating that much. And then when I was in college, when I was at University of Maryland, I lived on campus and I had gotten to a point where everything had just gotten really, really bad. And and my eating just got like I was probably eating like a granola, like 3 granola bars a week or something for like a month, and
Oh.
and and that just completely sent me down the drain. Like being malnourished fucks with your head so much,
Yeah.
especially like since I already like suffered a lot from anxiety, OCD, depression, and that stuff. It
Mhm.
just kept getting worse to a point where I was like, yeah, I can't do this. And obviously, my therapist and my family were like, you gotta do we're sending you to treatment essentially. And so I had to go to treatment, um which was amazing, like completely saved my life and turned my life around.
Mhm.
But it's something that just kind of stays with you forever. And like it's hard being in like a new body sometimes, because you're always curious of like, oh, I wonder if I could get back to the place where I was in and still be healthy. But it's like it's hard, and it's just like a constant struggle. But I feel like I've managed it well. People always say when people have like either addictions or mental health problems, like you really do have to sometimes step away and let them hit their low point, because it
Yeah.
really is the place where you
Yeah.
actually like something actually happens. Because like the low point was so fucking like sometimes you do miss the lows, because there's like that romantic period of it where it was like, I don't know, like like the rotting like did feel good, and like in a way, but like, but man, it was just fucked up, that to the point where I'm like, I don't know if I could ever go back there. But it's just um pulling you in two directions all the time.
Like, I grew up very on, like, a lot of pro Anna and, like, pro different eating disorder forums and stuff, and so, yeah, like, just the way that it was talked about online, I feel like also, like, affected me and fucked me up in ways that are still like, it's very hard to it's just, like, a lot of stuff that you can't unsee or unread that I feel like
Mhm.
I read online about just, like,
Yeah.
eating disorders or, like, mental illness or, like, anything like that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like just things that you read, all like just random things that I probably read like 10 years ago, that were just like, "Oh, like the human body could actually go without eating for this long." Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
sticks
yeah.
with me, and I'm like to this, like still, even though I'm recovered and still eat like a lot,
Dude, or
like
when they tell you about bread, when they tell you about
When they
bread, you
tell you
can't
about bread
unknow everything
I
about
know, yeah.
bread.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
just so much stuff, like, oh, certain things like slowing down your metabolism, and you just like those things just stick with you forever. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I'm
but,
glad that you, like, were able to, like, recover from that because, like, I feel
Yeah.
like, we probably both relate, me and Samira, but, like, maybe not to the same, like, degree of, like, low point, especially because I can't imagine being in that public of an eye while dealing with that. Like, I'm also curious about, like, experiencing that at the same time as, like, being, like, interconnected in these, like, creator social groups and just, like I mean, I'm curious about that just as a separate thing because we were also talking about this with Savannah, and we were asking her, we were like, "So, did everyone at Playlist Live and VidCon just, like, have sex with each other and, like, drink and, like, party?" Which I think is, like, really interesting just in the way that it's, like, you're young and, like especially even just going to New York at 18 and having those, like, opportunities to be there for modeling because of the internet and, like, having people watch it happen. And also being a kid in this place where, like, you wouldn't have normally had those connections without having, like, the life you had through the internet and just like also that same thing going for like playlist and vidcon and all that stuff like I like we were talking about it and being like this is like a weird version of summer camp where like but it's not it's like this like twisted thing of it.
It's, like, very
playlist was
grown
fucked
up.
up.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yes.
I envied playlist live
Yeah.
forever and ever when I was a kid. Like I went as a fan like a few times, but I literally like wanted to be in those damn hotel rooms so bad.
It was insane, and it's funny because, Nick and Mikhaili, 2 of my friends, live in Orlando,
Mhm.
and like I've gone to visit them a handful of times, and we always drive past the Playlist Hotel, and we're just like, "Oh my god!" Like
Aw.
it's just like crazy seeing it like from afar and being like,
Yeah,
"Wow."
because
But
that
oh my
seems like
god,
a world. Like, that was a world, but it's literally a hotel. It is like
yes.
a
Yeah.
hotel, which is so
Like
funny.
and you spent like the whole entire weekend in a hotel, but it was it
Yeah.
was a huge fucking hotel. Um,
Mhm.
maybe it wasn't that big and it just felt really big because
No,
there was,
because
like, so many things going on, like
Yeah.
well, they would do, like, really because I went to, like, the one that was in DC once. I, like, had never really traveled for it like that, but I went to the one in DC when I was younger. And this is also okay, I was gonna say this earlier, but I didn't have, like, a chance because we kind of shifted topics. But at the time, I was, like, weird parasocial internet friends with Weston, like, from being in his Discord. And, like, at this time, like, just, like, the era of the internet was so, like, interesting, and I remember, like, just, like, the, like, social hierarchy that was happening through Playlist Live in this hotel was so interesting. Like,
yeah.
it definitely did feel like it was, like, the biggest thing in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, the social hierarchies are so interesting too, like, you could it's like, there were people there are people who are known for being playlist people that
Mhm.
were not creators, they were fans, like, they were, like, there was the random fans who just came to the events during the day, there were the fans who hung out in the lobby 24/7, and then there were the fans who were, like, who are big enough fans to be in the hotel rooms and host the parties, like,
Yeah.
and like, get hotel like, even just having a hotel room at the playlist, like, and there was, there was a tour that, called Press Play that there are
Yes.
a bunch of yeah, like, there are so many
Yeah.
different, like, social media tours, but Press Play was, like, Christian Leave and, like, Psy Mike and,
Dude, Psy Mike lives
Wesley
in Philly
Tucker.
now, and I see him
Yes,
He
I
around
works
know,
all
I
at
the
saw
Whole
time.
Foods.
yeah.
I ran into him at Whole Foods, and I was like, "Oh my god," because 'cause we're, like,
Didn't you
mutuals.
and
I
you
was
saw
like
him on the street the other day too with his
yeah,
girlfriend?
it's like a jump scare seeing Psy Mike on the streets of Philadelphia.
That would be crazy for me because I probably haven't seen him since 2016 or
He
so.
was like
He's
Wattpad boy.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
He's gone through a shit ton of phases. Like
Mhm.
I was very I think it wasn't he working on a political campaign or something?
Yeah, he was on the
Oh,
Harris
yeah,
campaign,
'cause
yeah.
Dan
Yes.
our friend
Yeah.
Daniel was working on it and told us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's gone through it was very interesting to me that he ended up in Philly because he's from Florida and but I don't yeah, just very interesting. You'd think, like, he would go to LA or New York or
Yeah.
one of
Yeah.
those places. Um, but Press Play had, like, its own version of the the playlist fans, but it had, like, literal groupies that would go to every single date with them, and we would hang
That's
out
Ugh.
in their
crazy.
hotel rooms with them. I went to a bunch of Press Plays because, like, the friend Just Jamie was also on Press Play for a while,
Mhm.
and then I also obviously became really good friends with Drew, Christian, and Mike. Um, but
I feel like I used to see the people that would go to, like, every single one on Twitter
Yeah.
and stuff, and I was so jealous of it because I, like, wanted to be that, but we were, like, too young and also didn't have money.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know how some of them a lot of them had extremely rich parents that literally
I
just let them do that,
Well,
and I
even,
Yeah.
was
like,
like,
being in, like, because I was in, like, the One Direction fandom and seeing, like, the fans on stan Twitter that would go to, like, every single One Direction
that
show,
was, like,
I was
insane.
like, "Oh my god."
As creators being like on the Press Play tour and at playlists and stuff, like we would we would talk about the rich fans. Like we'd be like, oh,
That's
this
so
girl, like
funny.
That's
like
awesome.
her dad is like fucking a billionaire or something, and like
Well,
uh
it's funny because you guys were, like, also just, like, kind of kids the same age and, like,
yes, like we were
literally
the
Yeah.
just
same
being
age
like
as them.
Yeah.
And some
yeah.
of them were older. Like a lot of them were old. Like there
That's
was
so
like this
weird.
one girl who was like in her fucking 30s. Um, which was actually really fucking weird, like,
Yeah, that's really weird.
looking back on it, there was a lot of fucking weird things that happened
Yeah.
and definitely a lot of, illegal stuff a lot of illegal stuff was happening at Playlist all the time, in many different ways, but it was a time to be alive, like, I'm happy to have experienced it.
Dude,
It
because
was
they don't make
fun.
playlists live like that anymore, like,
No.
That
it's
we keep wondering. Weston and I always joke because the last playlist we ever went to was 2019. There was like a they did a tri-state playlist a few times in like
yeah.
Newark or East Rutherford or something,
Mhm.
and they were like Kaylin and Weston were obviously like partnered guests with them at that tour, but like Dana and I were either at my parents' house in New Jersey or at her house in Philly. And and Weston and Kaylin said they were going to be there. We're like, oh, well, we'll come hang out. Like, why not do what? Like, go to one last place. And it was so fucking stupid. Like
Wait, a recent
the
one?
Yeah.
yeah, like, no, it was like
Ugh.
2019, so still like a while ago.
Okay.
But
Okay.
but the tri-state playlist is like just like a very shitty version of both DC and
Yeah.
Oregon.
Yeah.
So, like,
No, I went to
not
that
that
when I was
many
in middle
people
school,
go.
so I know exactly
Yeah,
what you
but
We
going
should
there is like
host a playlist
I like
Wait,
and
they
have
had
like
to.
all the OG
but
people,
oh,
like have like you, Savannah, like Sydney,
It's
like
wait,
actually
all
a
the
we
good
have to cut
idea.
this out. They're gonna steal it.
yeah, cut this
Cut this
out. But
out.
like
No,
imagine
it
us
is.
hosting it and then like
It's
No,
just
like
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 a podcast themed type thing. Love everyone who's come on, but it's
yeah,
like
but
old
but
people.
it's just like replicating like an
Oh my
original
god.
like playlist live.
it's like a high school reunion kind of. Like
Yeah.
you're like, "Oh my god, I haven't seen you in so long." I would love that because
You
I would
could
get
see
to
Cy
see
Mike again.
Mike, I could see Savannah, who I haven't seen in a long time. There's so many
That should
people.
be because we were gonna do like a live podcast episode. We should do that instead of
Instead,
that.
yeah, but
Yeah.
then it's just like it's just a video of like it's like an aerial of the hotel all weekend.
Yeah.
Like a reality show
Yeah.
Oh my
of the
God,
whole
yeah.
event.
That I went to like one that was tri-state in like middle school, and it was like I was meeting like Gen X Pen, and I
Ugh,
was like so
need
excited to meet Gen
her.
X Pen because
Love her though. She's
she went to my high
awesome.
school, like so I was like
Really?
obsessed with her,
Yeah.
yeah, because I was like, oh my god, she made it out, but
She made
She
it.
made it out.
yeah. And like, yeah, she just held a funny like idea in like everyone's heads at my high school because we were like, oh my god, she got famous off the internet. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the like one that I went to that when I was like a little more formed, and it was like right after I had like been like in like Weston's Discord, we had this like Instagram group chat where we used to all like play iMessage games and stuff, and it was really sweet. Like I had so much fun, like having like that like internet moment, but like yeah, that was like the era it was for me. It must have been like 2017 or something like that. I think I was like a sophomore in high school. And my friend, who was like the rich James Charles stan, was there. And the like aura that gave like the whole weekend, like she got us like up in like she like had James like bring us upstairs to like the like creator floor and like we all hung out with it. It was like so weird because it's like
Oh
what
my
James
god.
Charles is now is like that just like thinking
That's
that was real
psycho.
and happened is just not real to me.
Do you want to know the craziest thing about I mean, again, I don't know if I've talked about this or people know this, but about James Charles. Do you know the Flashback Mary meme?
Yeah.
Mhm.
We pretty much made that.
Oh
Me,
my god.
Dana, Drew, and Enya. We were staying in he was okay, wait, this is actually press play. So he was on a date, Boston press play with them. And on like Dana and I were just gonna go there anyways. James Charles wasn't that big at the time. We've actually kind of known James Charles like way before he was big. Like I think he like
Mhm.
did
Mhm.
Orion's makeup like this one time when we were in New
Of
York.
course
Like
he did Orion's makeup.
That's really
That's
and
so
funny.
like
funny.
but he wasn't big like at the time. He was on the verge of really breaking out. It was right before his like cover girl thing where um and we went to the Dan and I went to the press play Boston with them, and Dan and I slept in one bed. James and Orion slept in the other bed. We were in the same hotel room as him, and so basically he had taken a picture with fans, and there was a flashback that was really white, and he was like freaking out about us, and we were like consulting him, being like, "It's really like not that bad. Like
Oh
you're
my
fine and
God.
everything." And then
Oh
we
my god.
while in the same hotel room as him while he was asleep, we were editing pictures and making it worse and worse and tweeting them and like sending them to
So
people.
funny.
We were
Oh my
making them like
god.
really bad, and we made so many of the memes that became viral out of it.
That's
And
so
it
funny.
was
That's
us just like
awesome.
making like and like I remember there was this one point where like we showed like I think like we edited a picture to be really bad and like I like as a joke I was like I was like, oh my gosh, like this one picture is this one like not edited, and I like showed it to him and he goes, no, like that's edited. I'm like, I don't like think it's that bad, and I couldn't hold my laugh and I started hysterically laughing like right by there. I'm like, I'm sorry, like and
Oh
like
my god.
it was like we were just we okay, like I'm like, and this is gonna sound so narcissistic and crazy, but like I will die on the hill that Dana and I specifically were the puppet masters behind so much shit that has happened on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're like you can observe a lot of the things that we've done and like some of the things we've been involved in, but like the craziest one is like we kind of were like we gave James Charles this meme. Yeah, it was mean to like make memes of somebody and like make it worse when they were like clearly in a state of like panic about
About
their
the
image and like anxious, but like we
I'm
made
sorry, but
so
it's
many of
so
the
funny.
memes like
It's so funny.
Yeah.
that became really famous out of it. And I yeah, I told that story a bunch on stream when I was streaming, and I always explain like there was never a place for me to like actually explain this story. I wasn't
Yeah.
gonna make like an Instagram
No, that's
story
such
about
a
it
good
or
Yeah.
story.
something.
Well, I have
But
Oh, that's
like a way
awesome.
less cool one, but similar of like that playlist live I was talking about was before everyone started like saying "Hey sister" as a
Oh,
joke.
yeah.
And like every time someone would walk in the hotel room or walk into the elevator, like me and my friend were just riding the elevator because we thought it was so funny that like these people we know were just walking in. And
You
we're
were
like,
just
oh, this
riding
is
it like
so
up and
funny. Let's just
down.
ride the fucking elevator and see who walks in. And like acting like we weren't doing it. And then every time someone would walk in, I'd be like, because we were like, we had just thought how funny it was that like that James had that because he had just come out with the first like Hey Sisters merch and no one was making fun of him about it yet. And we got the entire hotel like doing that to each other, like on the elevators, and then it spread to the internet. So I think that we did start that.
yes.
You
I'm just
probably
Wait,
saying.
did,
that no,
honestly.
you
You
like
definitely
when
did.
you have an idea that you started something, it usually is the truth that you did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
yeah.
100 like because I could see I know exactly how that's like how that started. Well, no, like what I'm trying to say is like I know the path that it took from you saying it in the elevator,
Yeah.
so I 100% agree and believe that you probably were. If you didn't start it, you were a big impact of why it became a meme. So
Yeah.
we
You should
both
get like royalties or
Yeah, I
we're the
something.
literally need
James Charles
royalties.
puppet masters. Like it's
Literally.
Well,
crazy.
also
We
it makes sense because like she was his like, and they are still in contact. They FaceTime still, like,
wait.
which
Oh, the
Like
fan,
the
the really rich
yeah,
stand.
fan.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
she gets like she's been to his house. Like it's kind of crazy that that is just like what happens out of like being the stan that stays, you know. But it's
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
like that's also just like this weird convoluted relationship that like also in a way like I wouldn't want.
It's
I don't
this weird
know.
power dynamic. Like
Yeah. Like,
it's
it's like, that's
yeah.
not right, obviously.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't
Yeah.
think she cares. And she's
And
gotten,
she's
like,
gotten
jobs out
so
of
many
it. She
opportunities
is
from it.
riding that. She's Alexa Losey's assistant now. Like, it's, like, crazy.
Ugh,
Yeah.
need.
No, stands are very powerful and they make really
Yeah.
good assistants. And it's like you can take advantage of a lot of. I mean, this is fucked up, but you can take advantage of so many stands and get them to work for you for free and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but they like I mean I think that's with streaming that's one of the things that eventually got the bet like when I say like I didn't feel responsible, it's like that was the place. And Weston is somebody who like really agreed with me because he used to stream a lot and he kind of quit because like it's a place where you really get intimate with like some of the people who've been
Yeah.
following you for a really long time. And that was
Mhm.
the first time where I was like actually like I had like a group chat of my the people who are in my stream the most. I eventually made them my mods of like my Twitch,
Mhm.
and I had a group chat with them. And there was a time where it became like I was talking to them all the time, and eventually that like it made it. It's just like this weird thing. Like I consider them like really good friends at some point, and then eventually like the closer I started getting with so many different like people who were like watching me, that the more I just was like, this is like really strange and weird
Mhm.
for me
Mhm.
to do. And so yeah, I like ripped the band-aid off and was just like, I gotta just like get away from all this. Um, but yeah, a lot of streamers specifically like get a taste of that because you do kind of have to like Twitch communities are just like a different breed of like
That's kind of what you're taking, like, advantage of in a way. Even though it's not, like, really taking advantage, but that's, like, what you're playing into is, like, people feeling that way about you.
Yes, and I 100% admit, like, I was taking advantage of the fact that these people, like, have really liked me for a really long time and were really big fans. That
Mhm.
made me feel really good to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just
Which
be
is so
talking to these people all
normal.
the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh," like, I could reference anything that I've done, and, like, they know what I'm talking about, and I'm just like, "Oh, this is the best." Like,
Which
they
is
could
just
never
such a
hate me,
strange
like,
thing, like, to
yeah,
have
Yeah.
that. Like,
yeah,
yeah, like, it makes sense to just, like, want to crave that. Like, that's, like, human,
yeah,
I feel like,
Yeah.
but
yeah, it's
yeah.
definitely addicting.
Well, it's kind
And
of the
it's
celebrity effect. Like we were talking about this with someone else of like you
Mhm.
want to be a celebrity until like and then it like wears off at a certain age of like maybe like 24.
Once your
Yes, yeah,
frontal
and I
lobe
guess
develops.
yeah, it's like I had that creator effect where it was like, "Okay, I'm kinda done with this." I think also the fact that, like, Dana and I in our private conversations just talk a lot because like, there's a difference between the creators who got a college degree and the ones who didn't,
Mhm.
especially at this age, like, how we've developed,
Or just been in like a college setting in that way, I guess,
yeah,
too.
and
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes, been in a college setting, like, just branched out a
But then
lot.
I'm like,
Experienced real
YouTube was
life.
a weird, like, convoluted version of a college setting, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, I don't even know, like, I don't know. That was just like a different, like, version of a similar thing, but it is still different.
Yeah, it is. It's very different, like, but at the same time, it's like we always Dan and I just say, like, we're really even if we didn't even if college degrees aren't worth it, they're a scam, like, whatever, it
Mm,
really is a test of discipline that, like, I had the my parents obviously just, like, really, really like, my parents took all that stuff very seriously and, like, wanted
yeah.
us all the kids to do that, so and we had the means for my parents to send me through college, so, like, I took it like, I did that and yeah, a test of discipline, like, was it worth it? I guess, like, I haven't actually gotten a job directly using my degree, it's all been through, like, random connections, not like nepotism way, but like, oh, I met I was volunteering at a horse farm for a while and met and the person who was running the horse farm, like, was like, "Oh, one of my friends posted on Facebook that they were looking for somebody to, do their social media for a summer internship," and I was like, "Oh," and I applied for that, and, like, the job I had with Rafa, I got it through Rafa. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, I haven't really directly benefited from getting my college degree, but
Yeah.
it's a test of endurance, a test of discipline um, that I'm thankful for, and just like being in a much like because I lived on campus of of University of Maryland, like a big party school, like made friends there, and like went to like frat parties and stuff like that. Like obviously not my thing, but it was just good for me to experience that, and I'm just like happy that I did.
Mhm. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
and what you were saying about like the being a Twitch streamer and then like your like relationship with like people who are fans but they're like not really fans anymore is interesting because I feel like for a time I was like on that side of it of like being a fan who like but also I wasn't like a fan really of anyone who I ended up talking to like I had a Tana Mojo Stan account and that was like my parasocial like it would be weird if we got closer type thing but, like, I feel like other people who I watched on Twitch I, like, was gonna say something about it, but I'm like, actually, I don't even think that it was, like, really a fanship in that same way. But it is just, like, an
I mean,
interesting
I feel like
dynamic.
even your fanship with Tana was kind of weird.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
like, looking back on it now, like, I feel like she, like, probably is, like, I don't know, because it was just, like, very
It
intimate, I
was
feel
probably a
like.
more like, that feels similar to what you were describing, I feel like, of, like, what
Yeah.
I experienced in that fandom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're big in the Tana fandom?
Oh, yeah, I was one of the big stans.
Um, Dana and I went to the Mari show taping, where Christine Sidelko and Elijah Daniels, like, do you remember that happening?
I know they do, like, the paternity tests to, like, figure
Yeah,
out the father.
but it's obviously all fake shit,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I guess, like, Christine Sidelko, Elijah Daniel, and, Tana Mongeau had, like, an ongoing bit, like, where one of them was cheating or something,
Yeah,
and
I
it was
remember that.
and they went on the show, and, like, Christine Sidelko posted on, like, her close friends or a private story or something like, "Oh, if anyone wants to come to this, let me know." And, like, Dana and I were just like, "Sure, like, we'll go." And we were, like, the only friends that went, but I'd never been to a a talk show filming thing. Yeah, and so
Yeah.
we were front row for when they are on this.
Oh
But
my
that's the
god.
only interaction I've ever had with Tana Mojo. I never
Yeah.
like we didn't get to talk to them backstage or anything, but like we were just sitting front row for when that happened.
That's
But
so funny.
Hannah's funny.
yeah,
Like,
I remember like I remember the whole like iDubbbz content cop thing, like
yeah.
absolute like cinema, like every like that whole drama was fucking insane. Like the fact that
Yeah.
it wasn't even that long ago, and it was like like nobody really like it was just like very well received, which was insane. Um,
Well, being a
but
stan during that
oh,
is
okay, yeah,
like,
well that's different. Like
dude,
That's
since I
like
was on the other
insane.
side of things, I
that
wasn't
was
like
crazy for
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
That
Because she was
was
like, we had like this Snapchat group chat with her where she like, when it was happening, was like, guys, like telling us that she wanted to kill herself. Like it was, and it's like crazy that you're Snapchatting
That's like so weird.
like, 'cause, like,
That's psycho.
obviously I was like 16, 15, 16 then. I'm like normal brained now looking back on that. It's so like insane. Like everything about that whole relationship is so insane to me. I want her on so badly. Like I want to talk about it
Yeah.
so
that
badly,
would be
but I don't think
so
she would.
good.
I don't think
She
she'll
would
do
be.
it.
She's
She's a
she's
flake.
very her career path has been so resilient, to be honest. Like
Yeah. No, I
she's remained
genuinely
super
still
relevant. It's
really
cool.
respect her a lot. Like
Yeah.
just
No,
as a
I've never like
person.
I, I'm I was like I think I became iDubbbz pilled after that video because
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was the most badass and crazy thing ever. And obviously, like also iDubbbz's career path is also very interesting because like, do you know about how he's like super liberal now and
Yeah, like he like
Yeah.
apologized recently for what he did to
yeah,
Tana.
and I was like
It's
he
like,
like
yeah, I was
Oh.
streamed
like, I was waiting for that apology.
You were like, I've been waiting
yeah
years for this one.
No, because
yeah
that
that
was a weird, surprising thing for my high school of like people being aware of that and then knowing that I had this weird connection to Tana.
Mm.
Like that was my weird high school experience of like people not caring about Twitter, but they cared about the Tana iDubbbz thing.
Well, that
You
was
know?
huge. I
yeah
feel like everyone cared about that for some
Yeah, and
reason.
like anyone who hated me would like say the N-word to me in the hallway because they knew that I was like Tana
That's
team. It was
insane.
fucking
oh
insane.
my god,
Yeah.
that is insane. Dream one time like talking about like like I was like, oh, like we watched this it's like a documentary about Eskimos, and everyone in like, and obviously like younger people on Twitter, I mean people on Twitch chats, like the younger audiences are like aware of like every single thing that could be a slur, like people call a slur, and like
Hmm.
when I was talking about it, I was like, people are like question marking. I'm like, do you guys not know what an Eskimo is? And they're like, that's actually people consider it a slur now. And I'm like,
Oh my God.
okay,
That
so
like
I didn't
kills
know
me.
that. Like, I'm sorry, I did not know that. And like, but they were like, cool. Like, no one actually said anything. I'm just like, my
Is
bad.
it a
Like,
slur? It's like,
I don't know. Like, that's
I
why I'm
just
comfortable saying it because after I looked at, like, I
I
looked it
don't
up and
feel like
spent
it's
some time
not.
thinking about it. I'm like, I don't think it is. Like, I
I
think you
think
guys
it's
are,
just a
guys, I
word.
yeah.
just feel like outside of the N-word and the F slur, like can we stop like banning
Yeah, it's like
Banning words.
like it's just
it's just a
been
way for
bored
people
and
to feel better
tired.
about. I don't care. Like Rafa says faggot all the time to me and just like calls people faggots. Like, but I'm mature enough to completely understand the difference between a faggot and a faggot. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
a faggot and there's a faggot. Like
Yeah.
there's much different things. Like he would never say it to hurt my feelings or hurt a
Yeah.
Yeah.
person's feelings. Like it's just so different. It's a
Yeah.
great word because there are people who are faggots. You know what I mean? It's like people
I
who
like
aren't
want
gay. Like
so badly to call straight men the F slur, but I'm like too scared
Yeah.
to use it and I won't use it. But like I would
yeah,
I would
I
like
don't
sometimes
like.
I want it.
That's
Like
why
I
Yeah.
want it.
they do it in Bushwick.
They do it in Bushwick. It's like
Oh
so
yeah.
okay in Bushwick.
Yeah.
So you
That's the
have to move
difference.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Do
I
you
just
live in
signed my
Bushwick?
lease. Yeah,
Yeah.
Samira's in
Do you
like
live in Bushwick
Prospect.
though?
No, I live by Prospect Park, like PL
Okay.
Prospect Lefterts Garden.
Mm.
It's like more
Yeah, you have
south.
to move to Bushwick so
To
you can stay.
Bushwick. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, literally I am in like 2 weeks. So
Thank
yeah.
God.
Oh, so you're definitely moving there?
Yeah, I just signed my lease this morning.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah, I'm
New
excited.
York is so back. Like it
I
was like
It
know.
is so
yeah,
back.
Dude, you
it
have to
was
come. Go with
I
us.
know.
It'd be so
Yeah.
fun.
We're migrating everyone.
There's a
My
great
this
migration happening.
yeah, the lease and I mean obviously like I've been thinking about it for a long time, but I'm in this lease until September, and then I'll probably move. I mean, I don't know what my job situation will be like by September, but
Mm,
I out of all the cities that I have considered living in and have lived in, want to and like New York has become back on the top of my list of like I should probably should move back there. Everyone's back there.
yeah.
Everyone's going
Yeah.
back.
There's like a
Uh,
weird thing happening there right now of like it is back in this way, but it's weird because like we've never lived there. So like it's like our first time we're gonna be living there. And like it's weird that there's just like this turning of like things feel very present there in some weird way. Like, and it
yeah.
feels very like spiritual in a way of like everyone just coming in and like having similar intentions of just like wanting to connect kind of and like also just like I don't know, it just seems like the right things are happening there.
I do keep
Yes.
seeing discourse online though about it like turning into like a college town, which I think is interesting.
I
Have you
was
like
literally
seen this
that's
on
what I said
Twitter?
after we went. I was like, New York is
Yeah.
like college low key, but
No,
like
but not like in like a like in like a like it's
but in
like
a
a
bad way.
sorority like frat
Oh.
type of way. But I think
Hmm.
like with like the West Village like article like all that stuff. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
went to the in February, I went to a party, a Valentine's Day party that Dana hosts like by like twice a year. Um, uh, they tried to do it twice a year. There's this one guy. I don't know if he's like anonymous online or something. They host a party. Oh yeah, he's like he's a creative that is also work like he works in crypto stuff because he like he's very involved in like AI and I think right now he's currently like building an AR app for the Meta Quest or something
Mm,
like a thing where you could like talk like having an AR companion with you uh or something. Like he's been working on building that, but so he's like involved in
interesting.
like Web3 kind of stuff.
Hmm.
But yeah, just like a digital like a Web3 creative kind of. And him and Dana host this party. Um, they've done one in July last July, and then one in February. And I hope they do one again in July. But it's like a big
Aw,
party in Bushwick at his. He has a really cool studio
stop.
apartment
Aw,
that's like it's an old warehouse in Bushwick, and just like a big massive room with his bed in the like in the middle of it, and he just throws the party
that's so
in
cool.
his apartment. And
Wait, this might be the thing that Natasha was talking about. Do you know what I'm talking about, Sarah?
Oh, that she said she met Dana at?
Yeah, because we
it
saw.
probably is that party then.
Yeah,
If
Yeah, we
it was
must yeah.
a apartment with like a well, a studio apartment party in Bushwick, but
yeah, that
Yeah,
sounds so
um,
fun though.
that's really fun.
yeah, I so I went. That was like my first time at like the new like kind of New York scene because I was very involved in 2016 New York with like Sarah Snyder and like Eileen Kelly and
Mm,
like that whole world. Like I was involved
Mhm.
in that stuff,
yeah.
but I've been very out of touch with New York since like Ion Pack
Mhm.
and all of
Yeah.
that kind of stuff is like in New York now. So going like so it was like I'd also never been to Bushwick since it was cool. So yeah, I went to a
Aw.
party in Bushwick and I got a little bit of like the frat kind of energy a little bit because it's like the unique thing about the party is it's like it's a bunch of straight people that are like nerdy crypto people and then also a bunch of gay people.
Yeah.
And so and then but Kieran had like a group of friends from high school came and it was like a bunch of these Dartmouth frat guys who were
Oh my God.
like literally like Bushwick's worst nightmare who were there. And it
Oh
was
my
just like the
God.
most bizarre thing. And like me and this girl who I had just met at the party, who was actually like the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my life. Like is Izzy May. You might have seen her on Instagram before. Um,
No.
absolute like I'd met her at the party, like most beautiful girl in the world, also
Aw.
the nicest girl in the world.
Oh,
And we were like some of the frat guys like came up to us and were talking to us and like her and I just kept looking at each other like and we hardly knew each other before
But
like
you were
we
giving
just
each
like
other the look.
introduced we were giving each other the look and then after they
Yeah.
left she comes up she goes worst fucking nightmare. And I was like, I froze. I did not know what to talk about with them or anything. And then
Yeah.
like
That's
her and I
really
like
funny.
bonded immediately
That's
over that.
funny.
It's
Well,
so
that's like
funny.
weird about what's happening in New York because I feel like that was also what's been happening for a little bit, like in the past few years of like a weird overlap of like gay people, but then also people who are like so not that. Like
Oh
I
my
don't even
God.
like I
I
don't
was
even know how to
so
explain it.
surprised, like, the amount of, like, straight people that, like, we hung out with there, and, like, later on, like, when I got back to like, Dana was subleasing someone's apartment in Hell's
Mhm.
Kitchen, and me, Dana, and this girl, Harriet, were all sleeping at Dana's apartment, and, like, after the party, we were, like, just, like, sitting up chatting late at night, and, oh, we were talking about Jesse, and she's like, "I had a crush on him when he was there because like, I always have a crush on guys that like are I always have a crush on gay guys, and it was like so lucky he was straight." And I'm like, he was straight. Like you're telling me, I hung out with this guy the whole day. I'm like, he's straight? She's like,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm like, what? And then there's this other guy who I swear was hitting on me the entire party. And I was like, I kind of have a crush on him. And then I was telling them after, I'm like, yeah, I kind of have a crush on him. He's like, it's like, yeah, everyone always like gets a crush on him, and then they find out he's straight. And I'm like,
Oh my
It's
God.
the
what the
bossification of New
fuck is
York.
going on in
Yeah. Well,
Bushwick, New York, all these
the
new
boys
like
especially,
Bossification.
they know how to trick you now.
Yeah.
Like
it's
they're
scary.
so good at
Like
it.
It's really
Like
scary.
cuz
They've
also
cracked the code.
in a weird way like I've felt like my straight ex-boyfriends do that to me if that makes sense of like like the feeling like you're very like a twink pretty much and like being like, "Oh, yes, I'm, like, presenting as this thing," but they're actually, like, kinda bad to women. And, like,
yeah,
and
wait,
not
I'm kind
Yeah.
of
really
having like a fucking epiphany. It's like I think it's a manipulation tactic
Yeah,
actually.
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
it is.
it is a way to get girls to be
Like to feel
like
safe.
trusting of you or
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
safe. Yeah, 100%.
Well,
Like
also,
it's
we've
Yeah.
been talking about a lot of like that kind of also being a thing with pronouns a little bit. Not to like invalidate like people who like genuinely feel non-binary, but it is definitely a thing of like escaping masculinity and like
100%.
feeling yeah, it's just that's been like a topic of like I feel like that conversation has been like starting to circulate with people and I'm like, "Ooh, this is rising. Now we're finally
Either
finding
like
out about
that.
this."
Yeah, like the like wanting to like escape being a man, or like they're just wanting to have like some layer of like victim oppression like complex
Mhm.
to you. I feel like those are both like the thing. Well, not for like everyone, but yeah.
I mean, this might be radical and messed up, but how I feel is if you're straight and go by he, they, you're doing that for bad. Like you're a bad, like you're
Yeah.
doing it for
Yeah.
bad reasons. Like you're
Yeah.
not good. You're, you are not, you're not feeling a
You
little
are
bit
not
non-binary.
good.
You are just doing it for very bad reasons. And you need to be added to a list to just like be on the lookout because
Yeah, they
there's
should
going to
have
be
like a
something
Megan's
bad that
Law for
happens.
people like that.
Yes.
True.
Yeah.
For people with he they
Yeah.
or straight.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Okay,
Scary.
we should
we
wrap this up
should,
because we've been
I
going
know.
for
yeah,
a
I
I
while,
like
but this is
know.
so
talk.
fun.
Thank
I
you
love this.
for
I
coming
I love
know.
on.
talking.
Wait, I totally get why Rafa like wanted to come hang out with you guys
Aw,
and like
Aw,
yeah.
stop! If you're
No,
that's
I
in New
so
get it.
York, let
sweet.
us freaking know. We
Yeah,
have to
Yeah.
no,
hang
I'll
out.
100% hang out with you guys. Like
Aw.
Aw.
because I
No,
also
because I
feel like
want
there was
friends.
on podcasts a lot. So I was like happy that you guys asked me to because I'm
Aw.
like I haven't done anything like this in a while.
Aw.
And like I also had known about you guys Weston has brought you guys up before
Oh my god, are
because
you serious?
Oh
yeah,
my
he's like
God.
they thought it was. I mean, maybe you heard it. Like they said, I don't know how like if you guys have ever talked to them, but he they're like they brought up when you guys did the podcast with William,
Yeah,
Mhm.
no,
right?
because I'm still
And
like good friends with him more so than
yeah,
Weston.
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
in
Yeah.
love
and
with
what
William.
they thought it was so cute that like he went on a podcast like with
Aw.
you
Aw.
guys. They thought there was like, oh, it's so cool that he went on the podcast.
Aw,
Um,
that's so sweet.
but
Wait, I
No,
would
I
love to
like
like
love
so
that.
I've known about you guys since that podcast. So
oh, wait,
Aw.
that's so sweet. Okay, that
yeah.
makes me happy.
Yeah.
I
I
haven't
love
talked to
that
them in
episode
so
with
long,
William.
and we love that episode. Was like
That's like one of
when
my
we
favorite
first started the
episodes.
podcast. Like we were just pulling at anyone we knew who might be interesting, like internet wise, who like we
Yeah.
were already like close with. And William was such a good one because like we're very comfortable talking to him, and we
Yeah.
were like scared to podcast at that point. But it was
So it was
really
just us like
sweet.
joking and asking him like questions about like
He
him
was
being
he's such
single
a
and like
good
his star
person
sign.
to he's a good person to podcast like do a podcast with, because they bring him up in every
Y-
fucking video
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
do.
Well,
So
that
like
it's
people in their
so
fandom
weird.
know him.
Yeah, it's so weird because I was like before this episode, like doing research and just like looking up your name on like Reddit and stuff as like I do with everyone. And there was like this one thread on like the St. John drowning Reddit being like, who's Jake Johnston? Like, what's the like,
Wait,
and
I
then,
saw that one
yeah,
too.
and
Yeah.
there's people explaining, being like, oh, like he was like friends with like Weston and like Enya and like all these people, like, and it's just like really funny, like, yeah, for people
Yeah,
that don't know and then
becoming like a character in the St. John drowning verse is like
Oh my god.
just very different from what I'm like, very different audience. And like it's
Yeah.
so funny seeing like I can see because like I like while I'm like I don't do anything that warrants me getting followers anymore. So like every like all my recent like people who follow me, I just like look at their profile and I'm like St. John viewer, St. John viewer, St. John viewer, like from just like being in some of their videos and being their friend. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
That's
their
sweet,
audience
though.
is funny. And I was gonna say when you were talking about them and like saying how they've like kind of taken on a business, like because I don't really watch them anymore. I really watched them when I was younger, when I was like 15 or something, like when Weston was vlogging and he was kind of like big on Twitter, I feel like, in a way where you didn't even need to like be a fan of him to know who he was. And that was kind of my like understanding of him. Saw that shift for them of like turning it more into like I feel like as a viewer, like when they started like they turned it into St. John drowning, I was like, oh, okay, you guys are like, this is a job, but it's still like cool.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I like get what you meant by that.
Their growth
they
has
like
been really cool.
they made it into like a TV show that they
Yeah.
film,
Yeah.
like regularly. And they probably they have definitely been adapting and trying to tailor towards a bit of a younger audience. So
I remember Weston doing a vlog a long time ago because I feel like everything I know of them is like from a while ago, but like his like thing where he went to like a Ross Lynch concert or something.
Oh my
And
God.
like that video is so funny. And I don't know, I feel like he's just like good at like he knows a lot of things. Like just from like
yes.
and from when I've talked to him, he just like knows a lot of things. He like put me onto Sugar
Yeah.
Pine 7 when I was younger.
Yeah, they're very cultured.
Yeah.
They have vast amounts of knowledge on the internet culture. So
They were also like puppet masters behind a lot of stuff, I feel like.
yes,
That's
Did you
they're
an
probably
outro?
like
yeah.
sure.
We have an outro that we have everyone do.
I think
I
I
don't
know
if
what
you've
it
seen.
is.
Yeah.
Oh no.
But yeah. Oh no.
I love when people know what it is. Do you think you could do it without us sending it or no?
I already sent it.
I could have. I could have.
Oh,
Oh my god.
Don't
Oh my
look at the chat.
god.
Don't look at the chat. Don't look at the chat.
Well, okay. I would have butchered it. I would have just said like Josh Ovalle, come on. I didn't know there was this
Yeah.
That could be
for
too.
it.
That could be good too.
You can do that if you want.
But I'll say the exact script.
Okay, thanks.
I, Jake Johnston, hereby request Josh Ovalle for collaboration with the Internet is Dead podcast. Please, Josh, be a guest on the podcast. We miss you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on. This was really fun.
Yeah, this is so fun.
Yeah,
I would
so
freaking
great.
love to hang.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let us know
Yeah,
when
I'll be
you're
in
New
contact
York.
with you guys. Yeah. I have to follow you on Instagram. I think I only follow Brittany. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna even follow me on Instagram. That's so nice.
No, just like a mental note for myself.
No, I get that.